Sup? Though. This story was about Larry something. Was originally paired with another story about a boy named Michael who went missing 8 days prior in the same location. Something Mountain, North Carolina. I used to live in North Carolina. Shouts out to Charlotte. Michael and his family asked us to remove the video, so that's why you are hearing Larry's story now as a weird standalone story. You know what's crazy? When the family or the individual person or persons comes out to MrBallen or comes out to, the person that's telling about the ouch, I bit my tongue. That's telling about the story, to leave some parts out or to not, That's like the real deal, you feel me? Dice roll! I was not expecting this. Dice roll. I thought he was going to talk in the beginning.
On July 17th, 1983, 8 days after Michael is found, another person goes missing in the same section of Roan Mountain. And I've got to say, their story sounds an awful lot like Michael's. So on July 17th, 1983, Larry Davenport, who is a 20-year-old avid hiker, decides to head up to Roan Mountain with a couple of his friends to go on a hike. They really liked the western side of Roan Mountain. They were very eager to get up to the top where they could have a picnic before the sun went down. So they make it up to this section of the mountain where it's actually a campsite, and it's not that far from where Michael went missing. And there's picnic tables and there's little barbecues. You can put in charcoal briquettes and have your own little barbecue. They get up there and they set up their picnic on one of the picnic tables. And they're having a great time, they're joking, they're laughing. And at some point, Larry takes off his shirt and his shoes. And the weather was pretty good. It wasn't super hot out, but it was decent enough that no one thought it was odd that he was taking off his clothes and maybe kicking back and relaxing, enjoying the nice weather. Then at some point, out of nowhere, he stands up and he starts walking over to the tree line because they were in a bit of a clearing. And as he's walking over, one of his friends would later say that it seemed odd if he was going to, relieve himself in the tree line.
That man, I would have been one of them people that, not to say nothing to nobody else, but I would have noticed him walking to the tree line because that's sus as shit. That is so sus. But then again, I think everything's sus, but that's just me. I would have just been eating, the barbecue. And watching him go by like, that's sus. I don't know what the hell he about to get into. But keep that shit over there. On me. Come on. I'm about to... Gator, what you looking at? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
He wouldn't take his shoes because the risk of stepping on something and puncturing your foot's pretty high. It was only in retrospect that this friend thought of that. At the time, his friends didn't think twice. He's getting up to relieve himself. He'll be back in a minute. After a few moments, when Larry did not come back, somebody turned around to see what he was doing. And they saw him walking in a straight line away from them, well into the forest. This is a thick forest. It's not somewhere you're going to go walking barefoot without a shirt on. And he is way into the woods at this point. The friends have this moment of shock. Even if he needed to relieve himself, he would have done it much closer to the edge. So they're staring at him, thinking like, this isn't really happening. He's gonna turn around and come back. When he didn't, somebody yelled like, hey Larry, what are you doing? Doesn't turn around, just keeps walking. So they get up and they start walking over. They're yelling to him, expecting him to turn around. And then at some point, he's far enough away that they can't even see him anymore. So they start running into the forest, yelling for him to...
Shit. As they running towards him, on me, I would have ran the opposite direction. Clubbers you talking about? And let me know if you're on my side. If you running the opposite direction, never looking back, or you wanted to go help out your boy, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not. That's the woods. What you doing? Come on. You're shirtless. You're barefoot. Nah.
Stop and to come back. But as they got farther and farther in and they couldn't find him, they began to get worried that they were going to get lost. And so they decide, after about an hour of just yelling for him and kind of peering around to hopefully get a look at him, thinking he might just come back because there was no explanation for this, they eventually called the authorities.
Anybody that anybody that walks barefoot in the woods, let them be. There's no saving them at all. Let them be, because apparently, they got some other shit going on. And you should have some other shit going. Don't worry about them. They not worried about you, don't worry about them.
Authorities are able to very quickly launch a massive search in this area, very similar to the search that was launched for Michael, except without military involvement. But it was just as many people, hundreds of people, scouring this area. He doesn't have...
What? What about them? Oh, is Michael the one that he said leave out? Because why was the military involved? Oh my God.
Shoes on, he doesn't have a shirt on. And so they're banking on the idea that even though he's walked off for some reason, he can't go very far. It's going to take a minute, but they're going to find him because he can't escape the search party. But he does.
Oh.
And after 3 days of not finding this guy, despite this massive effort, people are baffled. But on the third day, a very strange but lucky break in the case occurred. 8 miles away from where the search is happening for Larry, a group of hikers called into police that they had seen a man walking around them wearing only what they described as a bed sheet. He was probably not wearing a shirt. They didn't know if he had pants on or not, but they could see that, his shin down had nothing on it and he had no shoes on. And he had this bed sheet wrapped around him. And he wasn't coming towards them. He wasn't threatening them in any way. He just looked like there's something wrong with this guy. Somebody needs to collect this guy and see what's going on. And so the police go over, and sure enough, it's Larry. When police got to Larry, he was visibly shaken, confused. He didn't really even know why he was there. He didn't know why he had this bed sheet wrapped around him, which it would turn out to be a large curtain, not a bed sheet.
Hey, well, where did he get that from? Okay. I just realized that it just popped into my head. I would have helped him out as far as looking for him, Larry. But I would have stayed around the barbecue area, and all I would have said in a very, very, very low voice. And if he did not hear me, he did not hear me. I would have said, Larry, where art thou for that, Larry? Larry. Where is thou, Larry? Clock it.
He did have a few scratches on his body, but probably not as many as they anticipated him having, considering the distance he had covered. 8 miles through thick rhododendron thickets. He should have been covered head to toe in cuts, but he wasn't, but he had a few. So the first thing they did is they brought him to a hospital, and he was diagnosed with something called acute brain syndrome, which is a term that refers to a host of psychiatric conditions that are temporary and diffuse over time that are caused by head injury, drugs, or infection. Basically, he was totally mentally unstable, but it would get better over time. Once he stabilized a bit, investigators asked him, what happened? So Larry wasn't sure why he left his friends, but at some point after leaving his friends, he wound up at this abandoned cabin.
That's crazy because it sounds like, it sounds like he got possessed. On me.
And he describes the cabin and he says where it is, and he said he went in the cabin and he didn't have clothes on, so he pulled one of the curtains off one of the windows and he wrapped it around himself, and he was there for a bit before ultimately leaving the cabin, and then he was discovered. And so investigators, they had a bunch of issues with this because, number one, how do we account for you traveling 8 miles? Because what you've just described is not an 8-mile journey. You're talking about a very short journey. In addition, where you described this cabin is an area that was heavily searched by the hundreds of people that did the search, and no one saw a cabin. And certainly if they had, they would have searched the cabin. It is the most obvious place that someone lost in the woods would go. There's no cabins in that area. So where was he? And where did he get the curtain from? And so just like the Michael Real case, where the boy is found and he's healthy, and so everyone looks past the weirdness of his discovery and his story because he's alive, that's what happened to Larry Davenport. Very strange story. Don't know what you're doing walking around with a curtain on you, and I don't think that cabin exists, but you're alive, so we're okay with it. No one really did much research into the weirdness around these two stories. But David Paulides and the Missing 411 team said it's pretty difficult to overlook the fact that in a very short period of time, two different people that didn't know each other, that were not interacting in any way, went missing in roughly the same area, Roan Mountain, North Carolina side, under the same circumstances. They suddenly got up and walked away inexplicably. There's no trace of them. Dogs can't pick up their scent. Then they show up and they're kind of confused about how they got there, but here they are. And then they describe the same cabin that they found themselves being drawn to and staying inside of for significant amounts of time before being found again. That seems like too much of a coincidence to just write off. So I would like to hear what you think happened to these two people. Was the cabin a hallucination? And if so, how did they both evade such a massive search effort? Or was it real? And who was the person in the cabin with Michael? So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's video, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it. So give us the timestamp. And if you're the first person to do that, we will pin you at the top of the comments section. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please replace the like button's hand sanitizer with baby oil, and then also put a perfectly flat layer of saran wrap over their toilet bowl. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3, 4, even 5 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username for both platforms is the same. It's JohnBallen416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is MrBallen. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called MrBallen. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support. And until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
I really need to write some of these places down because, you know, some of these places sound interesting. It's like, why is that light on? It's like most of these missing persons is not recorded. You know, like if I was to go to the Roan Mountain, I would record the whole thing, you know? And at least if I go up missing or whatever, God forbid I do, it'll be all on tape. Hopefully, all on tape. But where did he go? Like, it's just sounded like he just lied out his ass. Where did he really go? That's the real question. But keep it cool, keep it classy. I love you, stay happy, my family.